Hey, Mom, this one you would approve of. I think I only cussed like one time. This was a great episode, everybody. This was, so we had Brent and Donna Jones. They are filmmakers who made a documentary here in Kansas City. It's very Kansas City centric. Oh my gosh. And it's of this lovely young woman named Bobbi Jo. The film itself is called Bobbi Jo Under the Influence, and it's available everywhere now: iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, all that stuff. And Bobbi Jo has just an incredible story. I'm not gonna ruin it, um, but she had a rough life: drugs, alcohol, raped on the streets, homeless, and then has the redemption story, and it's amazing. And it was a really good conversation to have with the filmmakers and the main person of the documentary, the person of the documentary. I'm stumbling over my words, guys. I'm dumb tonight. But I just had an amazing time with Bobbi Jo and Brent and Donna. This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys like this interview, and I hope you really guys go check this out. Go rent it. It'll go a long way. It'll help a really good cause, and it's gonna motivate you. It's a motivating, inspirational story. Bobbi Jo Under the Influence, and listen to this episode. There's other ways you can help out, and enjoy, everybody.
Welcome to the Inner Talk podcast. We'll no topic is off limits. Now here's your host, my daddy, and Roy the Soul. Thank you for coming to the Inner Talk podcast. Boom, swat, boom.
Three,
Sure.
2, 1. Here we go. Well, my name is Ryan Westa. This is Neanderthal Podcast, and I appreciate you two ladies coming on to talk about. We want to introduce yourself and kind of get started. We'll start with up top. Bobbi Jo up top here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bobbi Jo Reed, and the documentary is about me, Bobbi Jo Under the Influence. And I'm a person in long term recovery of over 25 years. Glad to be
Wonderful.
here.
Wonderful. My name is Donna Jones. I was executive producer and producer on the film Bobbi Jo Under the Influence, along with my husband Brent. We had the very good fortune of meeting Bobbi Jo and making this film about her life.
What made you want to how did you first hear about Bobbi Jo and make you want to start make a documentary on her?
My husband heard Bobbi Jo speak at a meeting at a church right up the road from us. And, we were looking for a project in town locally in Kansas City. We were mulling over different ideas. And he came home from that meeting, Bobbi Jo, you know this. He was so excited, and we were up most of the night talking about it. Bobbi Jo had given him her book. She has a book out, Beautifully Broken, which is absolutely stunning book. And we read it together and we talked about it. And it's one of those things that it just kept coming up. We would get distracted, and then Bobbi Jo would sort of pop onto the brain, and it was like, we got to get down there, and we really have to. I think we're meant to do this.
Bobbi Jo, how are your thoughts after watching the documentary? Did it depict you in every way you would like? Like, are you super happy with it?
Yes, I am. Brent and Donna and the whole team were very, um, they wanted to make sure that they really put the story out there like it was. So it wasn't acted or anything like that. It was just in real time, real life, and wanted to stay true to the work that we do. And it was very important that that no one was exploited to get a good story. And it felt very natural from the first day they came down. Brent said he'd like to come down and see Healing House. And so when he showed up, I was kind of shocked. He had 3 cameramen with him. And I'm like, darn, if I would have known this, I would have looked a lot cuter today. So anyway, we spent about 3 hours together. And I guess he took it home and said, we can do something with this. So A lot of the time they were there filming, and I literally forgot they were there because I just do what we do. And so yeah, it turned out great. And I think it's going to help a lot of people. And that's what my life's about, is helping people. So I think it's really going to do some wonderful things.
I had always wondered about that. Like you watch reality TV. Like I grew up in the MTV era where we would watch Road Rules and Real World, and they would
Uh-huh.
always say like you just get used to the cameras not being there. And I
Uh-huh.
never really believed them. I always still feel like you still kind of know they're there. Like you're kind of gonna play up for a camera, I think. But you're saying you actually just there does come a point where they're just not even there to you, and you're just I'm living my life how I live my life, whether these cameras are here. Like they don't change anything.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
the reality shows, they encourage those people to be off the chain, right? They want all the drama going on. And that's not what we were looking for. Brent and Donna were looking for real life
Mhm.
and what real recovery looks like. And we've all watched that. What were those, all those stars that were at Celebrity Rehab? And
Yeah.
it's not like that. It is, we got bigger issues to deal with than somebody not going to yoga class or something. I mean, we're talking about real life issues here. And we kept it true. We kept it true to the ministry and the work that we do. And that's why I love it so much. It's real and it's honest.
It is real. It is honest. Thank you for allowing me to watch it and preview it first. I really appreciate that. And one of the cool things about this, Donna, maybe you can speak upon if this was like a conscious effort of yours or not. But these kind of stories have been told before, and they can oftentimes get real gritty. They can get real personal and dark. Like Bobbi Jo, you've got a crazy, crazy, at times sad and
Yeah,
horrific past, and just some of the things that you've had to deal with. Just rape is just one of the worst things on this planet that
yes,
humans can do to another human, and to go through things like that and that exactly, it's just, but that's not shown in like a super dark, gritty, nasty way. Like it's a very digestible way to take your story. And I'm just wondering, Donna, was that like a conscious effort for you guys to kind of make people, I don't know, like almost anybody can watch this, like any age, anybody, like any culture, whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, there are a lot of documentary films that, do reenactments and
Mm,
things like that. And we just really wanted um, to keep it real. But at the same time, you have to understand that, Bobbi Jo shares her testimony frequently, often, and probably as many times as anybody's ever asked her to, because she knows that that testimony is going to help people.
yes,
And so that's not to say it's rehearsed or anything like that, but at the same time, she just lays it down
mhm.
as how it is and how it was. And she has such an honesty about her, and such a grace in the way she delivers that it does. I mean, as horrific as these things are that she's telling you, you're right, it is in a way that we can get her pain without it being, uncomfortable and cringy in a way, and I
Mhm.
think that is um I think that we did want to, we didn't want to take people into that really uncomfortable place. Bobbi Jo's story is uncomfortable enough, whether you're reading it in her book, Beautifully Broken, or whether she's telling it to you in this documentary. It doesn't need the extra. It doesn't need the extra reenactment and drama and all of that stuff. Because we also wanted to get to the good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't want to spend so much time wallowing in that. We needed to share it because you really won't understand the glory of what she's done, and the just the miraculousness of her life, unless you know the dark. But we wanted to get to the light.
Yeah, I think you spent a good amount of time on the dark, because it does give you that sense, but it doesn't overwhelm
yeah.
with it. Donna, are you and your husband from Kansas City?
My husband is from Kansas City, and we met. We actually, my husband and I met in Los Angeles. I'm Canadian. I'm from Vancouver originally, and we met in Los Angeles, and we were there for a number of years. And my husband's been in the film business this whole time as a director, mainly making television commercials. And our girls are teenagers now, and we decided that it was time to move them back to Kansas City, where we had family, and where the schools were good and the community was good, and all of those things. And when we got back here, we knew we wanted to kind of submerge ourselves into the Kansas City film community. And it just seemed like, and my husband's always wanted to make a film. That's been a big goal. And so it just seemed like the stars kind of aligned. It was like we wanted to, we needed a project. We wanted a project. We wanted something that we could, and we wanted something true to Kansas City, and a film that we could shoot here and celebrate the film community here. And so it just sort of all worked out.
Before I go on, I would just like to point out I'm drinking water. Just, I don't want to make it. This is water. I'm not drinking alcohol in front of you, Bobbi Jo. I wouldn't do that.
Kind of looks like a Coke can.
Oh no, it's pink.
Okay.
It's pink. I'm not from Kansas City myself either, but I've lived here for over 20 years, and it's home now. Like I call it home. And one of the things that really stuck out for me in the film was how Kansas City centric it is, and like how much you showcased it, like some of the skylines and some of the houses and some of the streets. And it's not the typical ones you see on Fox or NBC, where they show it from Indian Point or the Sprint Center or something like that.
Right.
It's actual inside Kansas City. And if like people know the pink house.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah.
a lot of Kansas Cityans know that place a little, so I know it. When I
Yeah.
saw that on, I was like, oh shit, look at that. It's so cool to see, like all the different, the different, I don't know. I love watching, I'm a homer. So you guys did a really good job of like just showcasing Kansas City. I think anybody that's obviously living here or from here is really going to get a kick out of how it's shot. And then just your story. I mean, who doesn't like, and then speaking again on the Kansas City part, who doesn't know Independence Avenue?
Right.
And it's always a joke. It's always a hooker joke.
Yep, it is.
But for that reason, then, you tell that whole story, like, what an incredible journey you've had.
Yeah.
Are you guys, Donna, you and your husband, are you guys happy with the way everything turned? I know you're going to say yes, but like with how it turned out, are there any things you guys would have liked to have maybe didn't have enough time for, or is there a part 2 you're going to want to go have later?
I can't say that. Listen, and when you're filmmaking, if there was more budget, more time, more everything, everything feels in the moment like it could be better. It could be more. I mean, it could be extra. My husband, didn't want to stop shooting. I mean, he could have continued on for months more, because there was just so much going on at Bobbi Jo's community. And so, it was hard to sort of scale back and say, whoa, I think we're good. But we were just, I sat down with a cup of tea the other morning. Listen, I've seen the film so many times. We've sat in the edit room for hours and hours upon end. And I ordered it on Amazon. I sat there with a cup of tea alone. Everyone else in my house is asleep. And I sat down and watched the movie again. And I mean, it's absolutely perfect. It's absolutely what it's meant to be. It's absolutely perfect. Every single scene, every single, just everything. It all like came together somehow miraculously.
Beautiful.
And that's one of the things that my husband and I would talk about. It was like, we'd get up in the morning, we'd say, we need to, let's just get ourselves out of the way and let this film make itself, and I think that we did.
Well, just with Bobbi Jo's story and just her as a person, you got such a great personality. Like you could have a TV show, Bobbi Jo, like a real reality show of just your life. It would be amazing. I bet people would watch it. That's huge these days. Bobbi Jo YouTube channel.
Well, Brent might have some ideas about that. I was going to say, I'd seen the movie several times, and when it came out on Amazon Prime and all that, I also rented it from Amazon Prime, or I bought it. And I sat and I watched it too. And Mama Judy is one of she was the lady that was my right hand, right? And she passed away last March 13th. And I watched it. Part of the movie, we're both sitting in our big easy chairs, just kind of cantering back and forth as we did. And it really touched my heart. And when Donna said it's perfect, it really is perfect. It takes you through the emotions. That's one thing about my life. It could be a sitcom, it could be a drama, it could be a scary movie at times. It takes you through this array of emotions, but it carries you through that, and it just goes to show you, I mean, honestly, how somebody that is that broken doesn't have to stay that way. And then it brings you into this beautiful light, right, of God using this person that was so messed up to help other people. And you walk away from it being inspired and wanting to do more in your life. And um, I've had a lot of what I would call normal people that don't have addictions or not directly touched by addiction, that have seen this and said, wow, I'm not doing enough in my life. If you can do that, I need to be doing more myself.
Well, that's what
And
I'm
so,
saying.
yeah,
Makes me,
so,
I'm depressed after seeing that. Like, how can I, like, there's no way I can do anything as good as this.
but it's not depressed about the movie. It's about, wow, I should do more, right? So it
Right.
lights a fire. And that's what we want to do. We want to bring hope. And, when I was homeless and out there, and the one thing, I was so broken, and the one thing I didn't have was hope. And I talk about it all the time. I became this invisible it, and people didn't even know I existed anymore, and I didn't want to exist anymore. And that's the game changer for people that are in the position that I was in at one point, is to have hope. Because see, if you have hope, things might change. Something might change. Maybe I can be something else than what I am right now. And I think hope and love and encouragement is all through this. And it's just, I know this movie's going to be used, and it's going to save people's life, and it's going to encourage people, and it's going to help family members that have a loved one going through this. Because you know what, sometimes it seems like the battle's over, right? And they're thinking, I can't do anything else. Well, there's always something else to be done.
Yeah.
Brent's here now. Hi,
Brent.
Brent.
Well, welcome,
Hey,
Brent.
everybody.
Great movie. Sorry, film. Not a movie. I didn't mean to start off with a foot in my mouth the first time I meet you.
It's a movie.
Great film.
Film.
There
And you're
you
from
Thank you so
Kansas
much.
City. You're from
What's that?
Kansas. You're from Kansas City, and now back here making films, documentaries. You went from commercials to Bobbi Jo's Beautiful Life.
Yeah, I think I came back here just in time to run into Bobbi Jo and get busy.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Is this gonna? I feel so. I don't have issues with church per se. I've gone to I used to go to a church and I was heavily involved in all that stuff, but it's not my bag anymore.
Mhm.
But I appreciate Christians, and I can tell real ones. Like, one of the things that drove me away from it was the fake Christians, the people that
Sure.
just talk and don't do any, they don't back it up. But you're one of the good ones, I can tell, Bobbi Jo. Like, just through the movie, I was like, now these are the Christians that needs to be more of you, like the real ones that are like doing stuff, and like I see it, like I can see it in your heart. And
Yeah.
and then I see this film with, a lot. Like, I went to a mega church for a while, and they would throw like a lot of those movies and like little clips. Like, this is going to be one of those movies, I think, or documentaries that's going to go viral in church, like at least mega churches all over the country. I bet. Like, it's got it hits all those marks that Christians talk about God did this, and
Yeah.
what God can do for anybody. It brings you out of the being homeless and drug addicted and all that stuff, and just pulling yourself out and now doing amazing things.
Yeah.
And you
I
actually,
was a person of faith for my whole life. I was not. Matter of fact, if anybody tried to talk about God or the Bible to me or anything like that, I didn't want to be bothered with that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a part in the movie that I talk about my mom passing away, and my dad died, and a month to that day I got sober, and then 3.5 years later my mom died of cancer. And man, I'm telling you what, I had two roommates that had relapsed, and then my boyfriend went out and smoked crack on New Year's Eve and left me the day I was out getting the urn for my mom's ashes.
Mm.
And we had started going to a church, and I didn't really jam on the church. I'd like the praise and worship part, right? But then I'd leave after that. And so I went out to that church at night to see if my boyfriend was there, but instead he was out getting high. And that night, I'm telling you what, I had always had something to anesthetize myself with every single time that, something went wrong in my life. And this time I knew I couldn't turn back to the dope or to the alcohol. I couldn't do it. And that night, I cried out to God, because guess what? I was done for. I was done for, and everything had caved in. And I cried out that night, and I asked God not to let me go back to where I came from, and to lead me and direct me and to be there with me. And I'm telling you, I wasn't a goody two shoes church girl. God got me to the church house through my boyfriend. That's the only reason I started going to church, in my red mini dress, and woo, I got my groove on at church. I was a hot mess. Thank God for mercy. Anyway, so that night I cried out to God, and I asked him for something, and I needed him. And I woke up the next day, January 1st of 1999, and the Holy Spirit had taken up residence in me. And all the fear that had been with me my whole life was gone. And I mean, that sounds crazy that you could cry out and pray and the next day be a different person. I'm telling you, it happened to me. And I mean, I just, I love the Lord, and I cannot ever downplay what he's done for me. I was 3.5 years sober, but at that point, my life came together, and all the fear had been removed from me. And I'm not a person, anybody can come to Healing House. You don't have to be a person of faith, nothing like that, no religion, nothing like that. This is just one of the things we offer to be a tool to help people in recovery. And yeah, you're right. I'm not no fake Christian. I love the Lord. I love my life. And you know what? I've had people that I've had to get on their tail about doing stuff at the house. One girl wouldn't do her chore, and I finally said, I've had it. You know what? You need to do your chore. And she put her hand on the hip and said, you call yourself a Christian? I'm like, you bet your butt. Now do your chore.
Yes,
So
get
being a
'em.
Christian doesn't mean I'm June Cleaver, right? So I have to go hard sometime on some people, but I'm real with it. I don't have to read scripture. I can live scripture. And that's how I live my life today. And I'm glad you said that, because this isn't a movie just about Christianity. This is a movie about encouragement and change.
Oh, 100%. Like, yeah,
Amen.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's just, yeah, I don't think it's a Christian film or a film just for Christians. I think it's a film that will be big with Christians and
Yeah.
in the Christian community. I think it's just a great message of of the hope and salvation. And
Yes.
it's amazing. I mean, well, you must hear it all the time, but I'm sure it never gets sick of hearing. Though,
No.
so you guys don't do reenactments, which is great because they're always horrible. But there is one reenactment I thought would have been cool, was the story. And I'm not going to ruin the film or anything, but there's about the AK-47 at your neighbors that was shooting it. I want to see that reenacted because I pictured it. I pictured you going out there.
I've done lots of crazy stuff. I can reassure you. One time I had been to the Holy Land, and I came home, and a drug dealer had moved in across the street, Cattywomp, and he was slinging big dope. And I thought, we had had a dope man live next door at one point, took a year and a half to get him out of there. So this time I thought, that's much too long a process, right? So I go over and I knock on the dope man's door and I said, I'm the lady that has the recovery houses. And I said, let me tell you, I was in the game for a long time. You're a young man. I don't want to see you go to prison for the rest of your life. I've been to the neighborhood association and the cops had pictures of you selling dope. I mean, they're all over you. They know what you're doing here. You, that was not the truth. It was a little lie. Anyway,
You had me fooled.
the dope man was gone in an hour and a half, packed up, moved out, all the way gone. It didn't take a year and a half. It took an hour and a half.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? Whatever. I roll with it and do the best we can. And yeah, it's. I've done the AK-47. I've done a few.
There's so many stories. We have
There
to
are.
get so much of it. I mean, there's just so many great stories. The
There
story of Bobbi Jo and Mama Judy and their nightgowns.
Yeah. That's a whole
Nightgowns and
nother
pistols.
story. Thelma and Louise, two old ladies in their nightgowns with a Smith and Wesson with hollow points. Who knows?
Could be a new movie.
No
Yeah.
fear.
Can you see why we made this film and why we wanted to
yeah.
keep going back down and hanging out with Bobbi Jo? I mean, I'm sorry for walking here near late, but I've only been here, 10, 15 minutes, and I still enjoy
Best part of my
these
day.
stories, and it fills me up. And I haven't seen Bobbi Jo for about 24 hours, and it's like one of the best parts of my day. And it's full of energy and enthusiasm. And man, that's been going on for us for over a year and a half of hanging out and making this film.
Yeah.
We're just feeding off of what's going on down there, which is really people getting their lives back, and there's some energy that you get from that.
Bobbi Jo, have you always been this bright and positive, like, and just kind of, I mean, you seem like a glass is kind of half full usually kind of person, and you're bubbly and just up, like, were you always like that even during your kind of darkest times, like just kind of?
Well, it would depend on who you ask, probably. I've always had a quick wit and like to have fun. And, I lost that for so many years in my life. I had became dark, very dark.
Mhm.
And just the circumstances around me were so awful that I wanted to die. I was one of those people that you pull up downtown and there's a crumpled person laying on the ground and you think, how can anybody ever get there? I
Damn.
became that. And but you know what? I wake up every day. I'm excited because guess what? I get to help people every day. I get to live around miracles every single day. I mean, I love my life. I couldn't have dreamed this up in a million years that I would be doing what I'm doing. I get to do what, I was created for because see, I got skin in the game, right? So when I'm
Mhm.
talking to other people that are addicts and alcoholics and wanting to change their life, I've been there. I've done that. And here's the really good news. I've never met anybody that was more screwed up than me. So guess what?
Oh,
There's hope
that's for
for
sure.
everybody. So I tell them, if I could get it, you definitely got a good chance at this thing. So I'm stoked. I'm happy. I don't get down very often. The loss of Mama Judy last year was kind of very rough for me.
Mhm.
She's my right arm. We were best friends. We worked together. We were roommates. We just best friends, and that was kind of a dark place. But here's the thing: I know that I'm still here for a reason, and I have to continue to help folks. That's what feeds me. If I never would have got to a place in my life that I figured out helping other people, ultimately it saved my life.
Oh yeah,
And
you'd be dead by now.
I would. And that's, I was 30 something years old when I got sober. And when I started helping those other people, man, it started filling up some voids in my life. And at first I did it because it made me feel good. But then I kept doing it because it just became the next right thing to do. Helping others saved my life 100%. And I get to do it every day.
It's looks like that's your new drug. You
Yeah,
know, it's definitely your new addiction, your new drug, and getting high off helping people is
right.
a darn good drug.
Yeah, I don't wreck near as many cars.
with
Oh,
with as long I'm not with as long as you've seen these problems going, like you guys were touching on Independence Avenue, and that's been going on for forever, and it
yes.
doesn't seem like that's going to stop. And a lot of these problems with addiction in the inner city, and just anywhere else really, do you, what do you see? You're helping the community, but is there anything you can think of or that you want to see happen that can help these problems overall? Maybe it's legalizing prostitution, maybe it's legalizing drugs, and spending money on towards like rehabilitation and education instead of imprisonment. Like what can we do to fix these problems? I don't want anyone to have to go through the life that you had when you were younger. That's nobody should have to go through that. Like what's a big way? I don't know. You guys you're in this every day, and you two made the film there. Like what do you see as a solution to this big problem, if any?
Well, I think now, like on St. John, the area I'm on, it St. John and the surrounding area is pretty much good right now. I
Mhm.
mean, there you don't see gang members, pimps, prostitutes. You don't see none of that up and down our streets. And so, not too long ago, we got a house over off Independence Avenue, and the neighborhood association actually wanted us to get this house so we could start doing some stuff off Independence Avenue. And we're getting another house in a neighboring neighborhood association. And so we're trying to spread there. I'm working with several different groups that are working on Independence Avenue. No, I don't think I definitely don't think we legalize drugs. I don't think we legalize prostitution. It is the most dark, soul robbing thing that a woman can do is to sell her body. It's awful. And, we got to do something about these pimps, the human traffickers, and not just talk about it. These guys, it's slavery, it's today's slavery. And I think that we're working on some stuff, and I believe Independence Avenue is going to be cleaned up. Downtown is moving that direction. There are people coming into the community. The housing market has skyrocketed over there.
Mhm.
Uh, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and kind of spread it over to Independence Avenue. There's a person that I've known for years, Christine McDonald. She was a long-term prostitute. She's getting ready to open up something on Independence Avenue to help the people out of human trafficking. We're on the move. God's on the move. We're on the move. And what has taken place there for so many years just no longer is accessible. It's not okay. We're a melting pot of a whole bunch of different cultures in Northeast. It's an
Mhm.
amazing place. We really, for the most part, all get along, but we've got to keep beating down this prostitution and there's gangs. Keep working on that, and I think we've got a bunch of good people that are working hard to get this area cleaned up and make it safe, and I believe we're going to do it. We'll do it in my lifetime, I promise you that. And I think I got a few good years left.
Definitely, you look healthy as
Yeah,
heck.
yeah.
Brent, Donna, thoughts
I,
on?
you know what? I think that people being aware of what's going on is a huge part of it. I mean, it's there are things going on that I wasn't aware of, and that when we went and did this film, we dug in, and it reveals a lot, and it exposes a lot of what's going on. So it exposes a lot of what the problem is, and it also uh, it shows provides a solution. And if I got to tell you, I met Bobbi Jo and I've got behind her and I'm like, okay, I believe 100% in what she's doing and what the people around her are doing. And it's a community of people that are doing this, and it's growing, and it's pushing out that crime and the drugs and the prostitution. And what we need is more people like Bobbi Jo and more people down there working it out and letting people know that there are solutions to these problems, and that there's a lot of love in this city for everyone in this city. You know, we can't as a city leave people behind. You can't just
You can't
ignore.
just criminalize the problem.
I mean, you gotta have some empathy for some people that are in some really bad situations, and be willing to give of yourself and go do something about it. There's a lot of people that are talking about doing a lot of stuff and and also getting busy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's the getting busy part that I see that works, because I follow Bobbi Jo around, and she's getting busy, and a whole lot of people around her are getting busy. And if you were to just see one person come out of that really dark spot, if you were to experience one person in that dark spot go through a 3-month transition, and you were able to sort of see the progress that they make, and then they see that little light come on in their eyes, and you see that work that you did help that person, you would go, I want to do that again. I want to help another and another and another. And if people become aware of that, it makes them happier, and it also makes the world a better place. If you're reaching out and you're helping your fellow man, you're picking them up. I mean, that's what I felt a desire to do. And that's what Donna and we were like, let's just go do this. It's hard, but it wasn't work. It was just, it felt like we were doing what we need to do. And I can't just look away from it. You know, I can't just go and ignore it. I've been given some good things in my life, right? And I know what those are. And I have an ability, and we all have ability to help somebody else up. So I think awareness, and then taking action, being willing to stick your neck out and help another human being is huge. I mean, if you buy a person a pair of glasses, they're going to see life a lot differently, and so are you. You know, that's the deal. You just keep doing this pay it forward thing. It works out really well for everybody.
You're on the same drug that Bobbi Jo is.
I've been hanging out with Bobbi Jo for.
I know. I think she's been dealing you. She's your main supplier, and now you.
Yeah, and when I get it, and that's what she'll tell you. But like, if I get away, I got to get a little bit of.
Now you're on my podcast peddling your hope and love. Where is on here? Just you're drug dealing to my people.
Yeah, that's a good thing, because
it is,
and they should be tuning into this, because we'll give them what they need. We're not going to say throw out a bunch of ugliness. It's a beautiful place to live on this planet. You know, we have a beautiful city here. Let's make it better. Let's do better. Let's do better for the people of this city.
Yeah,
really. I mean, if you've got a little extra time, let's go find somewhere where you can volunteer. Go cook a meal for somebody. That's how I first met Bobbi Jo. I went down, and there was 200 people down there, and I was in this tiny kitchen cooking with another guy. And I was like, I don't know how to cook much. And we got to cooking and helping people. And then the 200 people come in, and they're all working on themselves, trying to get their lives back. And you were okay, get them some food. And Bobbi Jo comes in and wrangles them up and goes through the things that people, that particular day, they were going through a situation, and a few people needed to be, I think that day, Bobbi Jo had gotten some buses or something for an event, and some people were acting up on those buses, and somebody had volunteered those buses. So Bobbi Jo sat down and said, hey, listen, it takes a lot to get those buses. Somebody donated those buses to us. So when we're in there, I want you guys to behave yourselves. And
I think it was the city bus. I think it was a city bus, and some of the folks had got on the bus and were cursing and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? We've worked really hard to have a good reputation here, and you're going to get on the bus and act like a fool. I said, tell you what, I'll do a recon on your tail ends. I'll go in there dressed like an old lady sitting in the back of the bus. And I would do that. Definitely, I would do that.
I can tell.
And I said, you're representing, man. When you get on that bus, you're representing what we're doing here. And if you get on there and act a fool, that's an embarrassment to me, because they all call me mom, right? And they don't have to call me mom. It just kind of automatically happens. And I I don't want to be an embarrassment to the community. What we're doing here is good stuff. And that should be, people on the bus should be able to see, oh, those are Healing House people, because the way they're bringing it, the
Hmm.
way they're acting. And so it hurts my feelings when the kids are out there acting out, because that's not an example of what they're learning, right? They're
Right.
learning a new way to live, a new way to act. And yeah, I'll get on them if they're doing something I don't agree with. I'll get them.
And that whole room was listening.
Yeah.
They were listening. No, there wasn't anybody not looking and listening. They were okay. Because you don't want to upset mom, right?
Yeah.
Mom rules the
Yeah, I'm
roost.
so scary.
Well, I mean, no, it's more that like she also's loving on you. So
Yeah. It's
yeah,
all done in love, and that's what makes a difference.
Hmm.
They know it's out of love. I wouldn't be a good mom to these, couple hundred people if I wasn't honest with them. I'm not going to tell them, oh, it's going to be okay when they're doing stuff that I know they're not going to be okay. I speak the truth to them, and I tell you what, a lot of times people don't like structure or rules, but after they're there with us for a little bit, they figure out, you know what, these rules are in place, the structure is in place for me to get better and to do better in my life, and they get that,
Yeah.
they figure it out. At first it might be a little push, but after a while they figure out this, they're for real. We have 41 employees, and 39 of those 41 are people that have came through Healing House and now they work for us. And so it's called peer specialist. And so all our people are peers. They've been through the program, they believe in it, and now they work here, and now they help other people out of their addiction. So it is absolutely a pay it forward.
Have you had any of your people that have stayed in your house and moved on and been successful and have taken the same steps that you have and started their own houses?
um Most of them have not really started their own houses, but they're business owners now. They hire people from our place. Not too many people want to do recovery housing. It's hard. I speak all across the country, and people will say, "What's the most important thing to know about recovery housing?" And I'll tell them that your life no longer belongs to you, because that's the truth. If you want to do recovery housing, it's 24/7. We don't get holidays off because the folks we're serving need us on the holidays. It's a difficult
Whoa.
time for them. And so it's 24/7. I lived in the main house with the girls for 12 years, and I want to give you an example of what my life was. I would go in the bathroom to take a bath. I'd be in the bathtub. One of the girls would come in and sit on the toilet and start talking at me. And I'd say, "Honey, I'm taking a bath." You know what they'd say? "Oh, you're not bothering me." Like, wait a minute.
You better hope they're
It
not
was
going number two next
right.
year. Oh my God.
Right. Oh, no, they would just wanted to talk at me while I'm in the bathtub. My life was like that for like 12 years. It was nonstop. And it's just where they're at when they first get sober and clean. I mean, everything, I want to fix everything and I want to fix it now. And we try to tell them it's a process, we're going to walk with you through this, but it's a process. And so, you know, I love the girls and the fellas. I never thought we'd have men, but about 7 years ago we started helping men, and now there's families there. We have 30 apartments, 14 houses. It's an incredible. We have a recovery community center that holds up to 350 people. And I'll tell you what, when
Wow.
COVID's not happening and we're there on a Friday night having a recovery meeting, right?
Hmm.
Think of that. 250 addicts and alcoholics that are not using and they're off the street. That has just improved the neighborhood by far.
Oh yeah.
These people aren't out drunk driving. They're not out getting high. They're doing recovery on a Friday night. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what is the best way for people to help out? What's the best way for people to help out? Like donations or I don't know, like how can we help you? All
Okay,
three,
well,
all three of you that I have, you can all give me an answer. How do you want my listeners, my viewers to help out? What's the best way to help out?
tons of
Money?
ways. Money's good. Money's
Make it
good.
rain?
Money's always good. Yeah, make it rain. That's always good. And then we can do what we need to do with it. We also need clothing. Our people come in with everything they own in a price chopper sack. They're coming from prison. They're coming from homelessness. They don't have anything. Hygiene products, twin sheets and blankets, um, furniture. We have 30 apartments that we furnish. We have 14 homes. Anything that you could, anything that anybody would need is what we need. And
Okay.
so clothing, gently used clothing, decent furniture, uh, I mean, really, we can use anything because our families are being restored and they're going into this apartment. So we try to help them when they leave us. So we're always needing nice furniture, things like that. The website for Healing House is www.healinghousekc.org, but I'll let Donna and them tell about. So that's for the Healing House, and I want people to know this too, that you don't, if you have a loved one that has addiction, you don't have to send them to a $50,000 treatment center. There are resources here in the community. These people come with nothing. You don't have to come with any money in your pocket. Most of us don't have money. We don't have insurance. So there's places like Healing House where you can get the help you need, or your loved one can get the help they need. And all they have to come is with a willing heart and an open mind. That's the admission fee, right?
That's crazy. Where do you hear
Yeah,
that? You don't hear that anywhere. Like that's
I know.
for,
I
especially
know.
for everything that you're putting into. I mean, your life and like the people that are working at Healing House, like that's their life. And you're just, hey, come on and do it. Whoever you
But
are.
the people we deal with, don't, we're broken. We don't have nothing. We're not coming to the table because we got money. We're coming because we're totally broken and broke down and don't have nothing. And you know what? That's when we can take somebody and just, we help build them up from the floor up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to take them from there and grab them, and they're going to come through this. Brent and Donna want to talk about the movie, though. I'm sure where they can find that.
I'll tell you what, if you go volunteer down there and work, you're going to fill up your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, there's riches down there. You know, I found gold down there in human beings, and that's in the connection I had with their hearts. I think that, I want people to see our film. I want people to see Bobbi Jo's story and get that experience, strength, and hope. And that's available on all platforms, on Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, and wherever you download films. And that's going to help out Healing House. It's gonna help a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, really just watch the movie, but then spread the word. Like I've said before, we didn't have a Disney budget to make this film and market this film. So really, it's the people that see the film and connect with it. They are our soldiers. They are our greatest asset. Sharing it on your social media, sharing it to your friends and family, talking about this movie. That is, you are our greatest assets. So please watch the movie. And then also the one very significant thing that people can do that really just doesn't, it takes a little bit of time, but it's just giving us a star review, like a little review on Rotten Tomatoes. You can also do a review on Amazon. And just those little things. I mean, you have no idea for independent filmmakers how much that means to us and how much that can help us with visibility of the film. If it's all algorithms. So if they see people commenting, 5-star ratings, saying something nice, it just kind of boosts us up there in the algorithm. So that is a major way that people can help us.
And people in Kansas City need to know who Bobbi Jo is. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody doing as hard, working as hard for other people in this city. I mean, I'm not to downplay what other people are doing, but I want to meet you if you
Yeah.
If you're
Send us an email.
if you're in lockstep with Bobbi Jo working things out for this city, man, we got to talk to you.
Yeah, we want to know.
I might be able to direct you towards someone that's had animal what is it? Animal Heart Rescue might be the name of it. She helps out homeless people's pets.
Oh,
So their
that's cool.
dogs and cats. She goes around and like donates food for their cats and goes around and and if they're like I don't know, a dog gets hit by a car and breaks its leg, they'll like take it in there and fix it up, like pay for it to get fixed and if
That's cool.
if you're like homeless and you just can't keep your dog anymore, they're like we'll find a home for it. So
That's cool.
That's awesome.
you might have a
Do
little
you-
competition out there, Bobbi
Amen.
Jo.
You know what? I'm always going to be Brent and Donna's first baby. That's it. I'm the first film, so I'm always going to be the baby.
Angel Heart. I think. Oh, let me find. I think it's called Angel Hearts Rescue. I think that's the name of it. I'm gonna look it up
That's
real
awesome.
quick, just because I don't know. Maybe you guys could collaborate once. Yeah, Angel
Yeah.
Heart. Yeah, angelheartrescue.org.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. You might be
Awesome.
doing more than her. I was just.
One thing I know is that a lot of people in this city are willing to help out. There are a lot. I mean, we had a lot of people help out with the film, so you know it's in our nature to do it. We just got to get back to doing more of it so we can help these people as much as possible.
Well, I hope your film does that. I hope it gets people not just motivated to help you guys out, but I hope it helps motivate people to help their own lives out, to get some kind of spark underneath their butt to be like, this chick was beaten, raped, and left for dead, and all of a sudden now she's just this. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity,
Oh,
but like it's just something like I have a house, a home over my heads. I don't have problems like that. I should be able to get my life together.
Very well said.
Go cook a meal at Healing House, man. It'll put some
change your
pieces
life.
right together. I promise you. That's the cure right there.
I might do
Go
that.
down there and just go help out, and you'll be like, some things just fell into place for me. I don't know how that happened.
there you go.
I won't say no to that.
Okay.
Let me
We'd
think
love to
about
have
that. All right, I might come and cook some whatever you guys cook. I can cook. I'm not
All
afraid.
right.
I'm not afraid
Well,
of a
come on
stove.
down.
Okay.
I'd love to have you.
Okay. I'd love to meet
Yeah,
you in person.
I think you'd like it. Yeah.
I would.
I don't come this week though, because I'm going out of town. But the following week I'll be back.
All right.
I'd love to have you.
I've got an addictive personality. I'm looking for a new drug to hit. So give me that
Get
love
you some
drug.
Bobbi Jo. I'm all about it.
Yes. Thank you guys for doing this podcast. I mean,
Thank you.
this is awesome. I wish you the best of luck with the film. Bobbi Jo, you don't need any luck with anything. You've got it all covered. You're just look at you go.
Amen. Yeah.
That's
Loving
it.
life.
Yeah. Thank you guys for doing this. If there's anything else you'd like to say here, say it.
Okay.
Good. Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much. This has been an
Yeah.
absolute pleasure.
It's been fun.
We're just thrilled.
Good.
Thank you so much. I
Oh no,
appreciate
you're
it.
welcome.
Yeah.
If you guys have another
right.
film coming, or you want to come back on, I can have you guys in studio next time. We'll
Cool.
kick it.
All right.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been great. Hope to see you soon.
Okay. Yeah, you will. We'll do
Okay.
it. We'll do it.
All right.
I'm in. I'm in. I've said it.
All
I'm in.
right.
I'm doing it.
All right. Good
All right.
deal. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks so much.
You're
Bye,
welcome.
guys.
Bye.
Be safe.
Bye.
Bobbi Jo.
Bye, Bobbi Jo.
All right. Bye,
Cindy,
guys.
Cindy, you there? You want to?
I am here.
All right. Yeah. Well, that was good.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I apologize for coming in late there.
Like I said earlier, we weren't really late. Like, at least in my mind, I thought we were starting at 7, and I was sending over the link at 6:30, so we had like a half hour to make sure everything worked out.
It all worked out.
All right, what's
I'm
next
hanging
for
out
you
with Bobbi
guys?
Jo.
Are you guys gonna do another documentary now? I'm not saying on Bobbi Jo, but like something else.
We're
next?
talking about doing a show where that helps generate income to build houses. So it's we're talking about a show that's about restoring homes and lives.
The Bobbi Jo Show.
Bobbi Jo Rehab Show.
Yeah, I was telling when we first started, she would make a good YouTube show. Just follow a camera, put cameras around. I don't know.
There's so much going on. I mean, we could do more with what we have already, you know.
Mhm.
We just had to cut it down, but there's a lot that's happened since we stopped shooting, you know, and I keep finding out what it is. Like, darn, I wish I would have had a camera on that, you know. It's always moving.
It's nonstop.
Oh, I should have asked, how long ago did you film this, and what was the what was the whole process, like how from film to putting it out?
We started filming May, June of 2019, and we shot really until September of that year. But we were also, you know, at that time logging and started getting ready for the edit. And the edit ran sort of from August through
January.
through January. And it was right around when COVID was hitting that we had locked the edit, and we were getting into doing the sound, color, music, titles, all that stuff. So that was a little challenging because it all became
The editors wouldn't.
everybody went
Everybody
home.
went home. It's like,
But you can do that at home, can't you?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
so-
this. Like, what do we got going on? Nobody can hang out, so we lost our little production
Yeah.
that we have in the basement. Vanished, and we had to wait for a while, and then we slowly came back,
Yeah.
and
Everybody started working remotely, and it was just a little bit more time consuming because there's a lot more back and forth when you're not all in a room, just, you know, collaborating in real time. But yeah, we finished the film in June of 2020. It was done, and we had a screening at the Boulevard Drive-In on September the 16th.
Oh, cool.
And that was sort of it wasn't a premiere because it was a cast and crew screening, which was fabulous. We sold that out, and it was all of Bobbi Jo's people and supporters, and it was just a really fun time. And it was a nice socially distant event that we could do that. And then we got our distribution deal right around that same time. And so then we were dealing with that and getting it to the platforms, and now we're launched. So
How long have the two of you been married?
20 years.
20 years. And have you always worked together, or was this your first project together?
We haven't always worked together at this closely, but I mean, we've been together real closely for the last couple of years, and for doing this film for sure. But I would work. I'd work out in the field all the time, and
Yeah.
and
When Brent was doing commercials, he was really working within other production companies. I mean, he and I started working together when he was building his reel and moving from doing lighting and like crew side of movies and stuff. And when he was building his directing reel, we worked really closely together in those early days. And then once he sort of got busy doing commercials, I was at home being mom, and he was out shooting all over Los Angeles. And
she is the backbone of building the career. I mean, it takes. I have a lot of crazy thoughts, and she's really good at organizing those, and she's really good at producing. And I kind of taught her the ropes in the film business. She took to it right away, and was able to assemble crew and do scheduling, and was creative and had great ways of doing things. And we have always figured those things out together and had a lot of fun coming up with our next crazy idea. I mean, we sat around when we moved here. We sat around for 8 months going, "What are we going to do?" We had a whole lot of different ideas. We had scripts. We were reading all the time, and some of them pretty good. And like, how are we going to do this? But then when Bobbi Jo's story came along, it blew away any kind of script we were reading.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, when she first started speaking, I was just like, I couldn't believe the first 10 minutes. And that's what the film is. You start getting into it, and it's just like, wow, where's this thing going?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was it was way beyond any script or story that we had in our back pocket, and it was real. It was real people, and we just couldn't believe it. And it's a blessing that we ran across her. I mean, it really was. It's like, man, this is, and then to go down and meet all the people in her circle, like Mama Judy was just this grandmother with a huge heart, had a rough life herself. It's the lives they've lived, and the stories they tell, and the place they've gotten to. You know, they've gotten to a really good place in their lives. And I think that's what I admired most. I saw those two working together, and whatever chemistry that they had, that goodness that they had, it's just coming off of them and going into other people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a true connection. It's almost in the air, you know? I mean, it is
Yeah.
with those two, and with the people that are in the film. I mean, we just kept meeting more and more people who had that what the word would just be,
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
just it's humility. They're so humble
Okay.
and so truthful and so kind. There's no hustle. You know, it's not like,
Oh man, and we just moved from Los
you
Angeles.
just moved from Los Angeles.
all hustle.
We're like, oh,
It's
you
all
know,
hustle.
everybody wants something. They're trying to get something. I mean, you can't help in Los Angeles to try to get something. You got to get to where you're going in a car. And everybody's jockeying for position. And then we came down and we've got family and everything that has those qualities for sure. And we went down there, and it's just so it's transferred from them. You know, it's being handed out. So we took a little for ourselves.
Yeah. What would there be any commercials I would recognize that you've done? Worked
I did a
on?
lot of Nissan commercials and Bridgestone Golf and AT&T and FedEx, and
Jeez, all of them.
I did a bunch.
Was
I
it fun?
actually, you know what I did early on is I wrote some commercials, and here's how I got my career. Here's a little tip.
Okay. I
Okay.
need all the tips I can
I
get.
was like,
Here's the tip.
how are we gonna, I want to do these big commercials for big brands, right? Like FedEx and AT&T and Monster and all your big brands. So I wrote some commercials for FedEx and for AT&T and they were pretty good commercials, and they looked like they were official. So I met this guy who represented directors in Moscow, right?
Oh, cool.
And so he goes, yeah, those commercials are great. And I'm like, yeah, well, thank you very much. And so he went to Moscow and sold me as a director over there, and like with my FedEx commercials and my Monster commercials and all those. And I went over there, and I got hired to do they have like Tele2 is like their AT&T over there. So I was doing their commercials. So anyway, those commercials got me some big time commercials in Moscow, and
Cool.
I got to go there about 4 times and hang out, and which was wild. I mean, I'm directing comedy commercials that are Russian, and I don't speak Russian. So I'm doing comedy commercials, and I'm like looking at the guys I'm working with, like, is that funny? And they're like, yeah, well, okay.
Oh, the comedy translates because some cultures, some things aren't as funny, so it transfer our comedy transfers over there, huh?
Yeah. I get it was working, and I was getting paid, so that's
all that matters.
And they brought me back a few times, but that was really the beginning of a commercial career.
That sounds fun.
Doing
Making
commercials
that
in a
looked
language
really,
that I
really
could,
good.
in a language I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had translators. It was wild.
That'd be weird. That'd be
It
interesting.
was really weird.
What a wild ride.
Yeah.
Russia. You worked for Putin.
Well, what's interesting, coming from commercials, it's a real departure to come to do a documentary, and to, not a big crew, really, really small crew of people that you're telling a true story. So it was I've done documentaries for other people as a crew person, and I really enjoyed them. So I knew how to do the questions, and I knew how to structure them. But what we were filming was so real and so moving. I mean, keep saying that, it just was.
I can tell. Yeah, I can tell. It's definitely had an impact on you.
I think it was a bit of a challenge, because Brent does, I mean, he's modest, but he does come from a lot of the commercials he was working on, especially up to recently, were really, huge crews. I mean, they were shutting down the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. I mean, massive sets and massive crews.
I'd be so mad at you. I would be so mad if you. I'm trying to go home and the bridge is shut down.
But and now we've got a very limited budget, a very, very small crew, and it's all hands on deck. I mean, it was fabulous because we met some great people great crew members here that were so awesome, and it was just sort of like you all got to do all the jobs. Everybody got to wear all the hats that day.
It was really kind of what I needed at that point in my life. It was like I needed to get down to doing something that really had a lot of meaning besides selling a car,
Right. Yeah.
So,
This probably
I mean,
fulfills you in a whole different way.
Yeah. And I highly recommend it, for all the young filmmakers that are out there. And there's lots of really good young filmmakers. It's amazing right now. Go find these stories, find amazing people and get those stories out there. Get the good content out there so we can drown out the noise.
Right. Well, you did. I feel like you made Kansas City proud with it. Just as I consider myself a Kansas City, and I'm proud. I'm proud to watch it. I'm proud of Kansas City watching it. I think you did a really good job of showcasing her story and the problems and the city and everything. Just made us look good. You made Kansas City look good with a bunch of people who you would maybe not think would make a city look good.
Well, good. And we can make it a better place. I know we can,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's awesome. But there's always going to be work to do. So we just need to get busy.
Yeah. There's room for improvement for sure. I won't take up any more of your time. But if you do find yourself with some free time, go ahead and, I could use a commercial for my podcast. It was nice talking to you guys.
All right.
Take it easy, man.
Yep. Take care.